tell me your impressions of Bears camp yesterday.
Okay, so I will say that the first time, so it's been 2 weeks since we've seen Caleb Williams and since he struggled. And I'm telling you, Peggy, that first day we were out there, it was not good. There's no way to, were we somewhat overreacting? I think a lot of people were overreacting, but sheer observation, emotion eliminated. It was not good. He looked more confident yesterday. He looked like he was learning. And to hear even Matt Eberflus say his footwork has improved already and he's getting it. And his teammates have said the talent is so there. You can see it right away. And so you know that it's going to figure itself out because that's who we know at this point Caleb Williams to be, right? He's going to put in the work. He's going to always be asking questions. And didn't we read somewhere that he had gotten, or someone told me that his quarterback's coach had gotten a text on like a Sunday night late or something from Caleb asking a bunch of questions. And he had to say, dude, it's May, pump the brakes, you're fine. And I think that how much of that is true. I heard that through like the grapevine or whatever. But if he is that aggressive, he's going to figure out, and he's going to be relentless in his pursuit of figuring it out. And he's excited about figuring it out and embracing that challenge and not afraid of it.
Well, one of the things that I found interesting was taking snaps under center, which he didn't do a whole lot of in college.
At all.
And so what his quarterback's coach did tell Waddle and Sylvie when he was on with them is they have worked on him taking snaps under center for years in preparation of the NFL. So I found that, now he's in camp. So the first camp is probably going to have a lot of rough edges because everything is new. Like you can be in your iPad and you can be in the classroom, but then to actually apply it on the field, there's going to be bumps in the road.
Of course.
So I fully expected the first camp would be like, oh yeah, this is, there's going to be lots of bumps. So now, and plus they were working on a shorter field. They were, yesterday, it was wide open. I mean, they went from red zone in the first camp to yesterday's 7-on-7s, and it was just wide open. He could just, let's see, Kevin Byard wasn't there. Jalen Johnson wasn't there. Jaquan Brisker wasn't there. Kyler Gordon wasn't there. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to help him look good. But still, what Sylvie and I were talking about yesterday was watching him throw the ball. It's different.
It's different. I agree with you. And the way he can where he can place it, it's different.
And he changes the speed, which a lot of I was reading that J.J. McCarthy in Vikings camp is sometimes he gets into the habit of just muscling the ball on his throws. When you can actually throw off speed and know when you need to, lighten up the speed and it needs to be more of a finesse throw. That is more what we can see from Caleb Williams, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing in live action with him.
He hit his buddy John Jackson.
Yes.
Yeah. He had a really nice pass to him, a really nice one to Rome that ended up being pass interference, and they were very excited about that. And then one to DJ into the end zone with coverage there, and it was the catches were impressive. The energy is impressive. You saw some of that, and I mean, I think some of the struggles, as Matt Eberflus said, and you pointed out yesterday, Peg, like everything is new. Everything he's doing is new, and so. It's going to take some time. We knew it would take some time. It's exciting to think that in 2 weeks, in 6 OTAs, they've kind of seen some progress that they can tangibly point to.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. That's all we can ask for at this point. And there's no milestone to hit to get to for mandatory minicamp. They're just looking for the basic foundation, the grasping that, having these team activities. Let's build some chemistry. Let's do that sort of thing. Yeah. And I do want to point out that a lot of those guys that were missing are at Jalen Johnson's golf outing in California today.
Oh, that's
Kevy's
what's
Vision,
going on.
It's the second annual. Montez Sweat is there. I would imagine those secondary guys are all there too. A number of NBA players are there too. So, when someone asked Eberflus, is there a commonality to these guys missing? Well, that was one of them. That's the reason those guys were not.
No wonder that makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of
then.
sense. Yeah.
The Kevy Foundation, that is Jalen Johnson's foundation, named after a friend.
His friend who was killed. Yeah.
Okay, and I did know that he had that golf
And
outing. that's
Jalen's
right.
had a lot going on. He's got another baby on the way. He just got engaged.
Wow.
A lot going on.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of talk also about changing the off season and almost getting to the point where there won't be an off season. There pretty much isn't an off season.
No, there isn't now. If they change it the way that they want to, they would essentially, those who are not in the Super Bowl would be off from January to June. So that is an off season, much like the rest of the major pro sports have a true off season. A lot of those guys, if you want to work out, it's all on your own.
Right.
There is no organization for MLB between September, early October, and February. Like
Right.
there's 4 or 5 months off. Same with the NBA.
You're
same with
given
the NHL.
your program when you have your exit interview. They give you your off season workout program.
Right. So there would not be. It would not be year round like it is now.
Oh, I see. That's what it
That's the
is.
difference.
Okay.
And you know that some people have said, well, it would just make the ramp up to training camp longer, or the ramp they'd come back, they'd get in shape when they get whatever. They'd just make that ramp up a little bit longer. And someone said, I don't know if the players are going to go into it. I believe the players union is involved with this discussion.
They have to be. Yeah.
I believe that they are. I don't know. I'd have to do more research to know if they're on board, if that's what we're hearing. But I know they want that uninterrupted time.
Well, I will say,
Understandably.
these OTAs and mini camps are pretty worthless. I mean, they're walkthroughs.
But you tell
These
them.
guys are getting together on their own and throwing on their own in LA, and there's 6 Bears offensive players together. They're basically doing the same thing they would be doing in an
They
OTA. Yurko always says it. Classroom, classroom, classroom. They have the iPad.
Yes.
Just do virtual classroom with them.
I mean, yes. In
so that they know what they're doing. So then training camp and the mandatory mini camp that leads up to training camp is actually something good.
and everyone knows that
And
these
valuable.
these OTAs are all quote unquote voluntary, but they've never really been that way. They are taking attendance. The Bears are taking attendance. They know
Yeah.
who's there and they know who isn't. And I think to just give those guys that breath to take before you go into the season that is already long. I mean, when you're there and now their true, off season where they have no obligations is like the end of their season until they all get back together in April before
Right.
the draft. Then they depart after mandatory minicamp, and then they come back like 6 weeks later. I mean,
Right.
it's not 4 months, 5 months, like a chunk that they would get if they made this change. I don't know how I feel about it. It doesn't really matter how I
Dan-
feel about it, but that's just what I was thinking.
I thought it was Dan Wiederer that was talking, and Adam Hogue. We were talking about this on the sidelines yesterday at Bears at their mini camp, and I thought they said that basically camp would be starting then in
June.
which, wow. Like I used to be, like everyone who covers the NFL knows that there's a lot of people who are coaching their kids
Yes.
Little League and youth sports. And I mean, my goodness, June, that would be a complete change. Like I used to know my golf season ended like right
day you
after 4th
reported
of July.
Right. Well, I have always
Because
said,
then we went to camp.
well, and Peggy, we all know once training camp starts, it might as well be New Year's Eve. Like
Right.
it just the rest of the year flies by. Like
Yeah.
it goes so fast. And if they take June, then that does hijack the media's summer. But okay, I mean,
they won't care
if they
about
want
that.
to do, they don't care about that. So yeah, it would be a great alteration for those of us who cover these teams and have to be there every day. But if that's what the players end up, if that's what they all decide to do, then like DeAndre Swift said yesterday, he's like, all right, that's
Yeah.
what we do then. I mean, they've made changes before. This new kickoff rule is going to be different. All that sort of thing, they're going to have to adjust to. It'd just be another thing to adjust to.